are we saying, Gerald, this thing is only visible in the southern hemisphere? Is that correct?
Harrington thought he could see it with an 8-inch scope in 1991. Fast forward to now, so that's how many years is that? Let's 10 years would be 2001, and then add another. So that'd be 26 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's been 26 years. Well, what did we just say about the entire transition from Nibiru, from this inner segment of the elliptical arc? I told you it looks like it only takes 30 years to go from the point just inside Jupiter all the way around. Guess what? It's been 26 years. That means it's in perihelion and it's about to come out. Or it's just coming out and we're just now starting to see it. And these people that are claiming to have pictures of two suns, I mean, they're not just a few of them, they're all over the world, would explain a planet that's reflecting the sunlight that's in or close to coming out from right behind the sun so that you can see it. Now, the real question is, what happens next?
Yeah. You know, and they say in Hamlet's Mill that it is the brightest star in the sky. Nibiru is the brightest star. It makes reference to that. You know, this is incredibly, just to say, John, it is an incredibly difficult task that we're doing here today. It's incredibly difficult to pinpoint Nibiru, to calculate the distance of Nibiru. I mean, but there is a line of research and there is a line of inquiry that you just explained with the scientific method that puts us in tangible parameters. We can say, look, it's in this window here, and you know, this is conservative information. It could be actually right upon us, or it could be not too far from us. But this window is a lot narrower than we think it is, Gerald.
Yeah, you know, recently I've just had a thought that this Lucifer infrared scope that was put on Mount Graham in Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the timing of when that was built is indicative of where Nibiru was, because you realize if you're in Arizona, you're not down on the South Pole Observatory. You know, you're in the northern hemisphere trying to see this thing now. That means that scope had to be set up to look at it coming out of perihelion.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you know, if I go back and look, well, when was that thing put together? I think it was around 2007 or 8, something like that. 2009.
Yeah.
So they put the thing in place, made sure they had it functional and blah, blah, blah for some period of time before the actual event where they could start seeing it. So I would say, you know, I personally think around 2013, I think it went fully into perihelion from what I can tell, but based on my calculations here.
Can we talk about the Google Sky analysis, Gerald?
Oh, sure.
I want to mention this because the picture on Google Sky is the one that I've been seeing. I wasn't even aware of this, but it looks like there's two horns on it, like the winged disc.
Yeah, we had one photo, by the way. We kind of passed over this, but we had one photo I found on the internet. This figure 14 in my document here on page 30. Okay, that apparently got leaked. I don't generally like to follow threads where I can't get any tangible data, but it's the only one that supposedly was leaked from NASA. Now, I can't back that up, but I just thought I'd provide it in a link to where it came from so people can look that up. So I put that up there. But as far as Google Sky goes, I think this is a really neat tool. I don't know if people have ever used it. And, you know, you've got the Google Earth that lets you navigate the whole spherical globe of the planet, which is really fun. Mm-hmm. And also now they have this Google Sky, so you can bring up this tool. So you have Google Earth open. It's one of the task menus or the menu items at the top that lets you change the sky mode. Well, a lot of people use this for looking at ephemeris and orbits and lots of different things. And I thought, well, if Harrington was looking in the constellation Libra from the southern hemisphere for this thing to come in, what do we have in the reports on the internet, whether it's fallacy or fact, that corroborate with some object that's been found that might be this item, that maybe have a different designator or something like that, right? So I started looking around, and I found some conspiratorial kind of things. Whether it's true or not, I can't say. But one link on Google Sky came up and said, hey, here's a position in Google Sky where we think Nibiru is. And they had classified it as HD 37784. Now, I got to go back and look back at NASA now and see everything I can find about HD 37784 and why that was chosen. And it turns out it's in a constellation that looks like Scorpio, not Libra. So anything that showed up in Harrington's orbital chart from Libra over all the way down to, or from Libra all the way up to Pisces, I believe it was. I made it fair game to possibly observe it in Google Sky and see what I could find. Okay, so I went through this, and even there was an area that some people claimed where Nibiru was on the online multiverse that was blacked out by Google. And I thought, well, those are always interesting areas. Why would you black out an area unless you just didn't want people to look there, right? So I gave the coordinates of that. I went to try to find it, and I was unable to find that. But if you could find what that is, it'd probably be pretty telling if they're eliminating some data so that you can't see it, okay? Given what we know about NASA and their connection with Google and the three-letter agencies, okay? So anyway, I put HD 37784 Google Sky, and it brings up kind of this bright constellation, and then right next to it, just down and to the left, you can see this winged-looking disk planet that's somewhat orangish red that people have claimed is Nibiru. And I thought, okay, well, great, there's a picture. It's pretty big. You can't tell much else from it. So I went, that's figure 15. Then I went and looked it up on Google Sky with just a different perspective, zoomed out a little bit so I could see where it was. It was just north of Orion's belt, north of Betelgeuse, and I don't know. It wasn't hard to find if you went from there. Okay, mm-hmm. So I think it's right next to 121 Tau as well. Okay, but anyway, I gave you a picture of it, and actually the coordinates show up in the lat long, so you can put it in if you want. But if you just put HD space 37784, it'll bring it in. You can zoom out and see this view. Okay, well, I went to skymap.org based on this information on this reporting. It was reported in 1989, by the way, and they called it HD 1989. It was called Tycho 2-2000 as another name, USNO-A2.0. So that's the United States Naval Organization, Naval Observatory. That's where Harrington worked. Okay. Then there's a BSC. I'm not sure what that means, but it was dated 1991. So this one kind of got my attention. I thought, well, maybe there's something here. Mm-hmm. Listed in the constellation Taurus. We have the coordinates for it. And I thought, well, it kind of has the attributes of Nibiru with that, it looks like a wings coming off the side, which is shown on some of their depictions for Nibiru. So I thought, okay, well, it's conspiratorial. I don't view it as hard scientific, but here's what we have. So I provided that as well. Okay. And they also gave you the distance it's away.
Incredible, Gerald. Incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's stuff out there. I don't know if that's it, but it gives you something to look at. Okay.
Mm. Mm. Wow.
Okay. I was going to include some of the pictures of the two suns that everybody's talking about, calling it Nibiru. Listen, I've dismissed every one of those. Number one, I started out dismissing anything that saw it before it was inside of Pluto, for that matter, unless you had a IRAS scope. Because of the temperature of the planet and being that far away from the sun, you just could not see it without a super cool device. Mm-hmm. Now, once you got in closer, seeing it with the naked eye, or potentially with a scope like Harrington had, is possible. Okay. So where does that take us to? Possibly down to what the Colburn Bible had to say about this, or what do you think?
Yeah, let's mention the Colburn Bible. I'm not entirely sure on the background of the Colburn Bible, but I actually, until today's show, Gerald, I wasn't even, I've heard of the Colburn Bible by name. I never looked at it before, never looked into it, but it's incredibly interesting document, Gerald.
It is. You know, I tried to follow the creation account of man in the Colburn Bible, trying to correlate the names of the Anunnaki and such, and I have to be honest with you, I really couldn't make the correlation. There's some very interesting correlations between the functional story and also a lot of stuff about Nibiru. That's the part I kind of wanted to focus on. And that's from the Book of Creation, chapter 3. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they talk about Nibiru, Planet X, being a very large, it says it's cold but bright, and beneath its belly was a huge trail of smoke and debris that it drags along. And basically that seems to be the genesis of where the depictions of it, calling it a dragon, were, you know, in the sky, that it's this long entourage of debris that gets dragged through the asteroid belt when it comes through. Because remember, it crosses between Mars and Jupiter. That's where the asteroid belt is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It talks about significantly in the Colburn Bible about it being a destroyer planet, and that every time it did come through, I mean, the descriptions, and I don't know that we want to get all into that. It's kind of like Revelations. It's pretty vivid as it talks about what this planet does as it comes through. It talks about it burning the surface of the planet.
Oh, gruesome.
Boiling all the water off. Nothing survives, okay? Men were stricken with terror, went mad at the awful sight in the heavens. Well, where have we heard that before? That came right out of Revelations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where it's talking about wormwood and all the evils that came with the plagues of Egypt. Well, a lot of people have seen that as a comet or a planet crossing that caused a lot of perturbations in space and caused those pestilences and plagues to happen on the Earth. So they kind of see it as related. And so does the Colburn Bible.
It's incredible stuff, Gerald. You know, for me, Nibiru is real. I have no doubt about it. From ancient texts or scientific data or both, I mean, Nibiru is real. Is it incoming? It's incoming. It's just a matter of how far on that journey it is. And I think we've got some answers today, Gerald. I think we've reduced the data down to some very, very synthesized analysis. You know, it's just, you know, how accurate can you try and refine your data now at this stage, Gerald? But it's incredibly...
like I said, only those who have the ephemeris for the planet could actually answer exactly where it is.
Yeah.
Based on our narrowing it down and all the evidence, I would not have believed it had I not sat down and put all the numbers in front of me, but I truly believe that it's already in perihelion.
Yeah, which is a difficult task, but I keep telling you this, Gerald. I mean, I'm sure you know more than anybody. I mean, this took you a week to prepare for this show, but I commend you on that. It's an excellent document you put together, and it's backed up with just the pure facts and the pure science and the pure logic of it. Let's speculate a bit, Gerald, just to wrap up. I mean,
okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to go too heavy on fear mongering, but I mean, NASA knows about this. I mean, I've no doubt. I mean, if this thing is coming in and it's where we think it is, or it's even, you know, approaching us. I mean, NASA's known about this for a long time. Governments have known about this for a long time, Gerald.
Yeah, I think every government on the planet knows about it. And, you know, recently from NASA, we've heard about, we're going out looking for these Earth-like planets all over our galaxy now that we realize there's so many. And then just recently, and I was looking for it just yesterday or the day before, I heard that NASA had announced this new planet that they had found inside of Neptune. And I was like, what? Or a new body of some sort. And it's like, really? No matter whether it was a comet or a planet, I can't remember. It was significant news, and I couldn't find it in time to get it into this document, but I wanted to. You know, so fast forwarding to now, people can look around the planet and go, well, let's assume that it was true. how would people respond? Well, you can go to